morning, League fans. This is the Southern Hemisphere edition of our soon-to-be one-day daily show. My name's Steve Mascord and I want to thank you for listening to our station, rugbyleague.com. We had 9 hours of continuous live coverage from the Pacific Championship Finals Day at Parramatta on Sunday. I want to thank our commentators led by Jason Costigan, of course, for the sterling job they did that day. Really a big step forward for us. We've only been around since the beginning of the year, so for us to call 4 internationals back-to-back was a big feat. Thanks to the NRL too for giving us the rights to do that. Now, today is the 12th of November. It's just after 9 o'clock in Sydney, just after 8 in Brisbane, and we thought we might have a look at some of the things that have happened on this day. In 1999 on this day, Souths accused the NRL of dirty tactics by releasing their 14-team draw for 2000 on the same day as the Rabbitohs launched federal court action for being excluded from the comp. And then, of course, today is also the day, a year later, that there was the massive march. 80,000 people in Sydney for marching for Souths to be reinstated to the competition. Also, in 2000, Australia... and it's weird that because how could I have been at both these events, but I have a memory that I was there at both. We'll try and sort this out, but Australia advanced to the semi-finals of the World Cup with a 66-10 win over Samoa at Watford. What a difference 24 years make, eh? With Samoa's competitiveness. What else happened? It's also this day in 2005 that Paul Deacon, the halfback for Great Britain, he suffered horrific facial injuries after a high tackle by Nigel Vungana, who we saw over here. I'm in the UK, by the way, right now, and Nigel was over here as part of the Samoan team management team for the Test series. He had a 1-match suspension and a $500 fine. And yeah, Paul Deacon was a mess. It was an unsavoury incident. Also, how about this one? ARL CEO Jeff Carr comes under fire after the Sun Herald claims Carr knew that Nathan Feen was ineligible to play for the Kiwis 2 days before he made his debut for New Zealand. So that was a big story, the old Nathan Feengate. What else has happened on this day? This is the day in 2009 where Wendell Saylor announced his retirement. And in 2011, England beat New Zealand 28-6 in Hull to make the Four Nations final. And so that's what happened on this day, November 12, in rugby league history. Got a fantastic interview coming up after the Kiwis win against Papua New Guinea on Sunday. Shaun Johnson spoke to the media. It also was his last game. And he says basically that what he wants to do in retirement is educate social media trolls who attack rugby league players. That's what he said. So coming up after this little break, Shaun Johnson. As promised, here's Shaun Johnson speaking after the Kiwis managed to stay up in the Pacific Championships for next year. They didn't just manage to stay up, really, did they? They put up a big performance against Papua New Guinea, winning 54-12. And here's Shaun Johnson. First question is, he's asked about this being his last ever media interview.
It's probably the best feeling in the world. I don't have to talk to you blokes again. I know, it's just a whole heap of laughs, isn't it? So, yeah, it's been a special night. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the week. I enjoyed the last 3 weeks with these fellas. I've done all the emotional stuff, all the family stuff. The Warriors did all that for me, and this was just bonus minutes. So this was always going to be about celebration, about enjoyment. Only time I actually got emotional was when the haka, when I saw the boys lining up. That hit a little bit different. Oh yeah, look, let's not get it twisted. We know what game we wanted to be in tonight. So, but I thought I'm really proud of how we conducted ourselves throughout the week. how we locked in and respected Papua New Guinea, and we put on a performance that showed that we respected them, you know. So look, it's a special group here. It's a group that you give Stacey time in the saddle, he'll implement what he wants to implement, and I thought everyone bought into just wanting to be their best, and each game we played we got better. So yeah, some real good positives to take away.
We're back talking to Shaun Johnson after the Kiwis' 54-12 win in his very last game at Combank Stadium at the weekend. And Shaun was asked about the fullback for the Kiwis, the youngster Keanu Keaney, who had a very, very good tournament.
He's an absolute freak. I don't know how he steps so hard and runs so fast without being sore. He's a special kid, bro. And sometimes you get these superstars that come in who maybe think they know it all, or they think that, you know, they've arrived already, where he has just been so eager to learn. He's asked questions, he's been open to feedback, he's working on this game constantly. And they're the ones that you want to be around. They're the ones that you know are going to be really good for your environment moving forward, and he's one of them. Same with Casey. Like, I can't believe he's turned 18 this year, the way he conducts himself, the way he handles himself. He's another special one to watch out for. I know. And like a lot can be made out of the players that we miss. Heck, I wouldn't be talking to you here if we had our full strength side. But I think we should be celebrating the people that have come into the environment and the performances they've put in. Like, to be successful at international level, you need depth. And I think New Zealand's probably in the best place we've been in terms of that. I know earlier in my test career we didn't have a lot of depth. You know, you look at, man, like, we laugh about it now with some of those players that debuted in 2013. Remember that, 14 or 13? One of those Anzac tests. Yeah, like, just crazy to think about some of the lineups we put out there. And it's no disrespect to those players, but that's just like, you look at who we can bring in now, you know, like the game is just trending and it's growing in New Zealand. So it's only good for us.
Our man Jason Costigan, he asked a question on behalf of all of us, speaking to Shaun Johnson on Sunday night. And that question was, is this really the end?
Say never, is this it? Is this it?
Look, I never retired because I didn't think I was good enough to play at this level. I never retired for that reason. So the fact people are saying, like, one more, like, surely why would you... Like, I'm okay with that. I'm comfortable with that narrative because I'd much rather that narrative than overstaying and being, like I've heard throughout my career, you should retire. I didn't like that feeling. It was important for me to come back and establish myself as an elite halfback and walk out on my terms. So tonight has gone to the script. This is how I wanted it to happen. It's how I wanted it to happen at the end of the Warriors season. This isn't by chance. This has been by choice, and I'm extremely content with the decision to go into the next phase of life and be around my family more and help give back to maybe some next generation players that are coming through and help educate some casual league fans that think they can just sit at home and comment on, say things online that you just can't say. And it's all because they're not educated. So I'm passionate about helping eat into that space so these players coming through now don't have to deal with some of the stuff I had to deal with coming through.
You heard that right. Shaun Johnson is the first rugby league player I can remember to say his ambition in retirement was to educate social media trolls. What a different world we live in. He was asked to expand on that.
It's just people that aren't educated that say things with no consequence, but they don't realise the impact it can have. Because at the end of the day, everyone in this room here are humans. You know, we're humans before we're athletes. So I think I can help. I can help control that narrative with what I want to do next. Everyone knows that. I've never been shy at saying I've been affected by some of the words that people have said about me. I think it's okay to be vulnerable. I think it's okay to feel a certain type of way when someone says something about you. What I learned later on in my career is that I never would have gone to them for advice in the first place. So why would I go to them for criticism? You know, it's as simple as that. So once I understood that term, once I felt that sort of energy, I kept my circle very tight, and it helped me sort of take my game to another level and finish in a way that I'm pretty proud of.
Fascinating stuff there from Shaun Johnson, saying that part of his retirement plans is to educate social media trolls, for want of a better word, about the game and to try to help players who get targeted by this social media abuse. Really interested to see how that plays out and what he can actually do, whether it's going to be sort of a business or an entity, or whether it's just going to be a one-on-one thing. Really would like to push him on that. But speaking of the public eye, and sad news coming to us from Yorkshire, where Gary Schofield, the former Great Britain superstar, absolute superstar, Hull FC, Leeds, West Balmain, Hall of Famer, he's got been diagnosed with a serious brain condition which will lead to eventually to dementia, and he said that he's going to step away from the public eye. In League Express today, he says, "I was diagnosed with brain damage in March 2023 and have kept it closely guarded secret until now. The symptoms, which I will share with you, are horrendous. I've been told I will end up with dementia, so the time has come for me to walk away from the game and concentrate on my health. I could trace my problem back to December 2019 when I had an operation to fix a detached retina in my left eye, but it wasn't successful. 5 or 6 days later, it felt like my head was going to explode. I needed 7 more operations and 3 laser procedures. Eye pressure should be between 5 and 23 millimeters of mercury, yet my recordings were 82, 79, 78, 68, 67, 58, 44 and 40, which were quite literally off the charts. The hospital told me I should be on the floor crying out in pain with these readings. At times, it felt like my head was going to explode, my eye was going to pop out. So September 2021, I approached my consultant to ask him to remove the eye because I couldn't go on living like this. I already had 56 hospital visits. The plastic surgeon agreed the eye was knackered. His words, removal was the only answer to stop the retina continually detaching and to sort out the pressure. Life with only one eye is difficult. I've adjusted to it pretty well. Subsequent health problems have included headaches, migraines, forgetfulness, anxiety and a lack of concentration, all of which led to my brain damage diagnosis in March 2023. These symptoms are now part of my day-to-day life. My partner Alison is now my carer. I used to think a migraine was just a strong headache. Now I know what they're really like, and they are horrendous. When one comes on, it's the end of the day for me. I have to go to bed and be in complete darkness. They are intolerable." Horrible news. Those of us who know Gary, what can I say? I feel like sending him a text or email or something right away after reading that. I only saw that for the first time as I read it out to you. So all we can say, I guess, is that our thoughts are with Gary. Yeah, still getting over that Gary Schofield news. Hard to kind of move on, really, from that. But what's next for rugbyleague.com anyway? Because the international season is over now. We'd love to be able to go to South Africa for the USA versus South Africa matches, but I don't think we are at this stage. One sort of idea that's floating around is that we call the Leeds Rhinos Boxing Day game. So that's been discussed. We are going to be deeply involved at the back end of the French season next year from March 1. More about that in the months ahead, weeks and months. And we'd love to also be involved in the NRL pre-season and more Super League next year, more Championship, more League One. So as soon as we have news on that, follow our socials, and we'll tell you more about that when we're in a position to. In the last segment, I mentioned our socials. What are our socials at rugbyleague.com? I'm glad you asked. On Instagram, we are rugbyleague.com with dot spelt out. On Facebook, it's /rugbyleague.com, and on Twitter, it is rugbyleague.com. So, you can find out what we're doing through those channels. Please follow us, please support us. Tell your friends if you're enjoying the station. Tell us what you'd like to hear. They're the best ways to contact us. Just tweet at us or send a DM or something like that, because it is a clean slate here at rugbyleague.com, 24-hour rugby league station, and we can do pretty much anything. So tell us what you want to hear.